Hey everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we are going to dive deep into how I prepare my oil paper before starting an oil painting, focusing on a really simple yet effective technique using just one color, burnt umber. Now, this is the method I use when I want to create a nice toned background for my oil painting. And I'm going to walk you through why I use burnt umber, the exact steps I take, and how this process helps set up the painting. So let's start with the basics. You might be wondering, why do I prepare my paper before jumping into the painting? Well, there are a few reasons for that. First of all, when you start painting directly on a white surface, like your Canson oil paper, it can be really harsh on the eyes. That bright white tends to reflect a lot of light, which can make it difficult to judge your colors and values accurately. By toning the surface with a neutral color like burnt umber, you soften the background, which helps your colors stand out more clearly and makes it easier to see your lights and darks. So essentially, it helps to balance the values early in the process. Now, why do I use burnt umber specifically? There are a lot of colors you could use to tone your surface. Some artists use gray or even a cooler color like blue. But burnt umber is a favorite in traditional oil painting for a few reasons. First, it is an earth tone, which means it is a very neutral color. This color sits somewhere in the middle of the value scale, leaning towards the darker side, which makes it perfect for establishing depth and contrast. It gives you a warm, rich base to build on, and that warmth can really shine through in your final painting, even if it is subtle. Another great thing about this color is that it dries relatively quickly compared to some other oil paints. In oil painting, waiting for layers to dry can be a challenge, especially when you are eager to move on to the next step. Burnt umber, being a fast-drying pigment, allows me to get a nice dry base down quickly so I can start painting sooner. It's just one of those practical things that makes the whole process more efficient. Now let's talk about how I actually apply it to the paper. In this video, I'm keeping things really simple. I'm not using any mediums or solvents, just the burnt umber straight from the tube. I'm using this Canson oil paper and I don't need to thin the paint because the surface is already primed and ready for oil paint. Canson oil paper is a fantastic surface because it has this special barrier that absorbs the oil without letting it seep through, so the paint stays vibrant and true to life on the surface. So here's how I do it. I start by squeezing out a small amount of burnt umber onto the paper itself. So you don't need a lot of paint for this step. A little goes a long way. Then I take my brush and start spreading the paint across the surface using broad, even strokes. The goal is to get a nice thin layer of paint over the entire sheet of the oil paper. You want to make sure you are covering the entire surface, but you don't want it to be too thick. A thin, even coat is enough to tone the paper without overwhelming it. Now, one thing I like to do while I'm applying the burnt umber is vary the amount of paint in different areas. I don't aim for perfect uniformity. In some places, I leave it a little darker, and in others, I'll wipe away some of the paint with a rag to lighten it up. This helps to create a subtle variation in tone that can guide me later when I start applying my colors. Think of it like a roadmap for your painting. This base layer is already giving you hints of where your lights and darks will be. As you are working, you will notice how easily the burnt umber spreads across the oil paper. The texture of the paper is slightly light, kind of like linen canvas, and this really helps the paint adhere and spread evenly. I love this paper because it is super portable and convenient, but it also has the durability of a traditional canvas. Once I've got a nice even layer of burnt umber down, I let it dry before moving on to the actual painting. This layer doesn't take long to dry because burnt umber is a fast dryer, and since I'm applying it in a thin coat, it's usually ready to paint on within a day or even a few hours, depending on the climate. To sum up, this preparation step is all about creating a strong foundation for your painting. By toning your oil paper with burnt umber, you're giving yourself a nice neutral base to work on, which helps bring out the richness of the colors you'll apply next. And since I didn't use any mediums or solvents in this video, it's a straightforward, easy process that you can try right away. You just need your paper, your paint, and a good brush. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more art tips and tutorials. I see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.